I'm leaving Jakarta for a long rail journey around Java. My first destination is an ancient site steeped in mystery and controversy. The traffic jams of Jakarta fade into a pleasant countryside full of tea fields and children at play. Eventually, the road ends at a massive staircase that stretches uphill, climbing the carcass of an old volcano. Climbing up these stairs, obviously humans paved this path, but also when you look at the stones, they have a particular geometric shape, and it could be easy to fall into the belief that these were also somehow carved by humans, but that's not true. These were formed as volcanic rock, heated and cooled, and it's just a product of nature. In the early morning, the scattered stone pillars are blanketed by a rolling fog. Who carried all these stones up here, and why? Wow, this is an ancient site in a beautiful location. That much is undisputed. But it's also the place of two stories in red-hot contention. When you travel, you discover that the world is made of different fashions, cuisines, and architecture. This you can see, but you'll also notice the most powerful building blocks of civilization are totally invisible. They're stories. The stories we grew up with are so ingrained, we don't see them. Growing up in the American Midwest, if a waiter arrived with 2 plates of food, I might say, that one's mine and that one's his. Now that I have it, I might offer him a bite of my food, but it's primarily mine. Underlying this is a story about ownership and individualism, but I don't even notice the story. It's just normal. It's just what you do. As I traveled, I learned other cultures have different ways of eating, motivated by different stories. The traveler gets the gift of noticing the contrast between stories and choosing the best. But then there are stories that deal with facts, like, does Bigfoot exist? Here's where we have to be more careful. There's the story I want to believe, and there's the story that's true. Sometimes they align, sometimes they don't. I want to believe my pet dog loves me. I want to believe my pet cobra loves me. When I'm emotionally invested, I start selecting the evidence that confirms my belief and ignoring the stuff that doesn't. Okay, how does this relate to Gunung Padang? An Indonesian geologist and a popular British journalist have claimed that this site could be up to 27,000 years old. That's over 20,000 years before the oldest pyramid in Egypt and 15,000 years before the agricultural revolution. Now, the dominant story says we live more like chimpanzees then, not like pharaohs. This claim has rattled archaeologists around the world. In this story, during the Ice Age, way before the Indus Valley, Mesopotamia, Samaria, there was an ancient civilization that, due to flood or asteroid strike, collapsed and completely disappeared. But there are tiny, tiny clues like this one. Could Gunung Padang be the oldest ruin in the world? Mainstream science says there's not enough evidence, it's probably hogwash. This camp says it's a cover-up. How old is this site?
Yang tercatat 5.200 tahun sebelum Masehi.
5,200 years before Jesus. Oh, okay. Interesting. I leave Gunung Padang impressed and full of questions. On the drive out, I stop for a regional specialty.
Nice.
It's so buttery. And strangely, you get notes of almost like onion and garlic at first. But hold on, you push through that in a nice tropical sweet finish. It really is a fruit like no other. Durian is one of the priciest and smelliest fruits in Asia, but it's yum. You know, like I love durian, I love a good conspiracy theory. I'm skeptical of the official line, but I'm also skeptical of my skepticism. Usually the simplest answer is the true answer, and fact-based, peer-reviewed research really matters. So I'm going to look for a real professional opinion on this subject.